Hey, what's up, guys? Bonisile here with Footy Notes podcast. So, anyway, today we're talking about Bayern Munich 3, Sporting Club Lisbon 1. This was as one-sided a match as you can find in the Champions League. Surprisingly, how one-sided it was, considering Sporting. I know they have their way. It's almost like they are the Bayern of Portugal. So one would expect them to put up a bit more of a fight, but this is not, to me anyway, a referendum or something that Sporting fans would have to. I wouldn't be overthinking this if I was a Sporting fan, because Bayern at the moment are playing like the best team in Europe. I know there was a lot of pushback when Arteta was saying Arsenal beat the best team in Europe, and it sounded like he was doing some lip service or trying to be humble. But watching Bayern, even in that Arsenal game, just watching some of their games, they usually are the ones who dictate where the game goes. And if you don't do anything to upset their dominance in a game, they will suffocate you. Vincent Company is proving to be a very good hire for this club. I know there was a lot of talk around his experience and him getting hired for this job straight after a relegation job at Burnley. But so far it's working out beautifully, because he seems to be able to develop players and also work with the veterans in the changing room. And I think it's showing in the way Bayern are playing at the moment in the Bundesliga. They've won 12 of 13 games, still unbeaten. They're sitting pretty. So like what happened in this game, it was basically Bayern being Bayern. They showed up and almost went 1-0 up, with Leonard Carl scoring a goal that was rightfully ruled out for offside within the fifth minute in, and Carl scores, beautifully taken shot. The kid is a gift to this club. I don't know what's going to happen when Diaz and Musiala and everybody's available, but this kid is going to definitely be a selection headache is going to be giving the coaching staff selection headaches, because the way he's playing right now, you want him in the team. He's a goal threat. He can run with the ball. He can protect the ball. So he scores in the 5th minute, rightfully ruled out for offside. And the entire first half is Bayern chance after chance after chance after chance. They were dominating territory. They were dominating possession. They were dominating big chances created. Gnabry had a shot saved, a couple of Kane shots that didn't turn into goal. One was saved. One left-footed shot hits the post. Beautiful. That would have been a beautiful goal. Neuer had very little to do, and then Leonard Carl has a chance in the 43rd minute, followed by an Elise chance in the 44th minute. So, Bayern was basically running this game. Then in the beginning of the second half, there you have a shot from Santos going wide of Neuer's goal, and then followed by that own goal in the 53rd, 54th minute by Kimmich, which I think upset Bayern, because they had been doing all the work to win this game, and all of a sudden they find themselves trailing. And Bayern, they were not behind for too long. I think it was all of 11 minutes before Gnabry made it 1-1. And then Carl, who was irrepressible, he always looked good for a goal in this game. He scored the second goal 4 minutes later on the 69th minute. And then Jonathan Tah scored the third goal, I think 77th minute, to make it 3-1 Bayern. And by that point, it was obvious. There was only going to be one winner when Bayern scored basically the equalizer, because they had been running this game for the most part. And to be honest, I think Bayern is just, at the moment, the team to beat. I know PSG are the current champions. I don't think they're going to repeat. I think they have a really good team too, PSG, but I'd be surprised that they repeat in the Champions League this year. But the one thing that they both have, Bayern and PSG have, is that they play in leagues where the league trophy is basically an invitational trophy for them. I know there've been other teams who've upset these two clubs in their respective countries recently, but my opinion is that the early stages of the Champions League tend to favor, maybe English teams a lot more. Like the English teams will make it into the later rounds, as you can see in the top 15 positions. All English teams are in the, within that range. And there'll be several who will qualify in the top 8. But because the Premier League is so demanding physically, I think it's hard for Premier League teams to go into the spring with a degree of dominance that I think, if you're Bayern and if you are Madrid or Barcelona, if you're having a good year, and I want to say PSG, if you're one of those 4 teams, the 2 Spanish teams, the German giants and the French giants, you are in an advantageous position because you can usually seal the league championship, around March time, maybe April, and you can basically play reversed 11s, flip flop your 11 to give people game time, keep the squad rotating and happy and healthy. And I think Bayern have really given themselves a solid platform to build from here. And to be honest, I like them. I like them. I don't know what happens if you run into Bayern. I don't think that anyone wants to run into them. And now they just got Alphonso Davies back in this game. Came on as a late substitute. He's been out injured for a long time. So I think Bayern, cool. They've had a good start to the season, and you just can't bet against them at this point in time. The next game I'm going to be talking about is Real Madrid 1, Manchester City 2. The weird thing here is that, like, first of all, I'm surprised about all the talk about the coach. I mean, we are hardly in December, and there's talk of Xabi Alonso potentially losing his job. And I'm not a Madridista. Okay, so maybe Real Madrid fans can tell me why this is a sensible conversation to be having now. But for me, keep this guy in. Let him have at least a season. And I was hearing talk from Gareth Bale talking about Real Madrid don't need coaches, or they respond better to managers rather than coaches, which makes sense because, you usually have the biggest egos in world football at Real Madrid. What I don't understand is where they're going to find these managers now, because they have fired or broken ties with the last surviving manager types. Ancelotti is probably one of those manager type dudes. And he is managing Brazil. Zinedine Zidane, maybe they want to go back there. Yeah, I don't understand the talk about Xabi Alonso being under pressure. And Madrid they're doing well so far. I mean, they are not struggling. I mean, of course, the players could do better, and, like the manager wants to be doing better for as well. But like, they go into this game with Manchester City without Militao at the back. They go into this game without Dean Howson at the back. And I know Xabi Alonso doesn't like to play this Asensio kid. And he was playing with him. And he's been bad. I mean, he had a decent start to his Madrid senior career last season. But Asensio is not a player that Xabi Alonso believes in. And Carreras had a decent game. But like, Rudiger had a boneheaded moment. So they're in this game. City probably, if you had to pick a winner out of this game, yes, maybe City deserved to win the game. But Madrid started strong. City got stronger as the first half got on. And then Madrid, after some boos and some unhappiness from the fans, finished strong again. So like, City finishes the first half better, and I think deservedly took the lead. But Madrid had some chances. They wasted some of their food. And I can think like right now actually of like the Bellingham shot, where he chips it. I think he's going for the right finish, but his execution like lets him down, and he kicks it over the goal. But City had chances too. Like, I mean, Doku was having himself a game down that left flank, and he was playing against a midfielder, a very good midfielder in Valverde. I think Valverde is as good a right back as any at Madrid. Excuse me, but they didn't have, I mean, Trent probably would have had a harder time with this, but like I think Trent would have helped them offensively. Vinny started well, kind of was in and out of the game, but he had a hot start. He thought he had won a penalty in the second minute. He then misses a chance that Rodrigo creates for him. Then eventually Rodrigo is the one who breaks the deadlock. Rodrigo had, a good start to the game, played well. But like Madrid playing with Ceballos in midfield and showing fight, and this kid Garcia up front, like Madrid are missing some good players from their team, and they made a fight of this game. So I'm not gonna be sitting up here like acting like I understand why people are calling for the manager's head. I think the manager has done a good job considering that Madrid have been playing under a very, very different kind of coach in Carlo Ancelotti, who, he's like a arm around the shoulder type guy, kind of grandpa, uncle vibes within the locker room. But they were becoming a bit, I think, stuck for ideas under Carlo. And I think Carlo is still a good coach, but like, I think sometimes with a lot of younger players, which is what Madrid has, I know the egos are big, but they're young. You need a coach. And then they have to then earn the trust of the coach. And I think that's the kind of manager / coach that does well in the modern game. If you think about the comments about like Madrid need more of a manager and you need to let players be players, who is out there that just lets players be players at the moment that is doing a good job that would be a good fit at Real Madrid? I can't think of them. All the coaches like that are successful in the Premier League, Pep Guardiola, micromanager. Unai Emery, micromanager. The list goes on. Iraola, Teta, they're all good managers, but they all are very detailed. Maybe Slot, because I don't know. I don't have a proper handle on him in terms of like detail orientation and whatnot. But something tells me he's also more of a coach than a manager. There's a lot more coaches now because clubs are very data focused and very detail driven. The devil's in the detail. Like the margins in terms of talent have shrunk. And so you need somebody who will really study tape, give his players all the information that they need, almost information overload type managers, coaches / And so like you don't have too many of those kinds of guys where you will have, just the run of the ground if you're the players and you run the locker room and all of that kind of stuff. And I think Rodrigo did well, and I'm glad he's seemingly working out for Madrid because like it looks like they were ready to let him go. There's a player there. And hopefully between him and Xabi Alonso, they can continue to build on this relationship because I think they can both give each other a lot between now and May. And it's a World Cup year and Brazilian kids want to play in the World Cup. And so, maybe they can figure this out. But Madrid played okay. It wasn't a bad game. And O'Reilly scores for City. Rudiger has a dumb moment that gives City the penalty for Haaland to make it 2-1, and then Haaland could have made it 3, and then Cherokee also could have made it 3. So it was a good game, a bit end to end. And yes, like in a football match, the momentum will flow one way and flow the other way. So, Man City had moments in this game where they looked the stronger team because they're a good team, City, well coached. So I think, I don't know the fans of Madrid, what they will say, but like for me, I think you played against a really good Manchester City team. And, they had moments where they dominated the game and probably deserved to win, but it wasn't embarrassing for Madrid. I don't think Madrid need to be having firing coaching conversations, if I'm in my opinion, as a person who just enjoys football. And I think Xabi it may end up not maybe working out between him and the players. But they did come out in his support publicly, and they didn't have to do that. And it seems like the players are, maybe there are some who won't like it because, like, yes, he's a bit strong with his ideas, and he's a manager who's different to what Madrid players are used to. But I don't know. It's too soon, guys. That's my opinion. It's just too soon to be firing coaches and all that kind of stuff. You guys let me know in the comments what you think. I just think give it time. What do you guys think? I'm going to stop here with this Champions League one. I just wanted to do the 2 big games because, it was an interesting to watch this game. And Madrid showed some fight, even though they had some injuries. And City don't have too many injuries except for Rodri. So, you're going to lose football matches against good teams. I was saying, I feel like I'm saying that a lot at the moment. because I was saying that after the Arsenal game at Aston Villa as well.